Hi, it's Mike Stephenson here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at an introductory level view of the Azure Cost Management out-of-the-box features. So let's start with what we'll cover. So we're going to start by taking a look at the billing hierarchy within Azure and just understand a bit of background of what that means. We'll then look at Azure Cost Analysis. We'll look at budgets, cost alerts, advisor recommendations, and then exports. And then we'll talk a little bit about where Azure Cost Management starts running out of road, and you might need to think about something a bit further. So to begin with, let's look at the billing hierarchy. And the key thing is here, there's really two types of hierarchy within Azure that sometimes would confuse people. So on the left-hand side over here, we've got the billing hierarchy, where you would usually start with a billing account, which will have multiple billing profiles against that billing account. Within a billing profile, you're going to have invoice sections, and then when you create a subscription, that subscription is going to contain resources and resource groups, which we'll come on to in a moment. And that subscription is going to be allocated to a billing profile in an invoice section, which basically determines where the costs for that subscription will appear within your bill and within which invoice. Now, what's interesting is the second hierarchy is more about the deployment model. So you're going to deploy a resource, which we'll see down at the bottom here. So we'll take a resource example, would be a virtual machine. That resource is going to live within a resource group, and that resource group is going to live within a subscription. So let's imagine if we deploy 10 VMs, we may put 5 of them in one resource group, 5 within another, and those resource groups could live in the same subscription, or they could live in different subscriptions. Now, the subscription itself is going to belong to a management group. So a management group is like a layer on top of the subscription model, where you can kind of make it easier to group subscriptions and apply holistic management policies and rules across them, and RBAC controls and things like that. But the relationship between the billing hierarchy and the resource hierarchy really sort of crosses over at the subscription level. Is really the relationship between the two. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of background to help understand where things sit. Now, in Azure, you may have different kinds of agreements which will sort of affect a few things. Now, you might have an enterprise agreement, you might have an MCA, you might have pay-as-you-go, or you might have a cloud solution provider. These are all different ways you can get an Azure subscription, and then there'll be different layers on top of that. So at the one extreme, a cloud solution provider might be a third-party intermediary between Microsoft and you as a customer at the end, and they may provide things like discounts. They may provide additional services to you, for example. The key thing is, above the subscription, there may be slight variations on how these different things kind of correlate. So just be aware there are some subtleties that may affect what your Azure looks like. Now, where it gets complicated with Azure billing is there's a few different things that come into play. So number one is stale billing structure. So you'd set it up once, it reflects your organization chart from years ago, and people don't necessarily change it or update it over time. So keeping on top of the relationship between subscriptions and billing invoice sections and things like that, even if you don't have to do it all the time, but just a regular check to see if things change can help you. Second thing is invoice sections don't relate to resource groups. There's that subscription in the way, so an invoice section could span across multiple subscriptions. Now, I think the more customers have got into landing zones, the more they tend to have like a subscription maps to some kind of business entity, which makes a lot of the cross-charging a lot easier. But a lot of customers will have subscriptions that will have many different types of things in it, which creates a sort of an abstraction between the finance view and the deployment view. Now, there are a few other things I mentioned about EAs and CSPs that add extra complexity on top. And the key thing is that kind of scope confusion creates allocation gaps, I think is the key takeaway of this bit. So if people don't really understand how you've deployed something in Azure and how that correlates to the finance view from the bill, that creates like ambiguity as who pays for what and where does the money go. Now let's jump over into the Azure portal and have a look at a couple of different ways we can look at Azure Cost Management. So we're going to have a look to begin with at the cost analysis, but we're going to look at a centralized view of this. So over here, I'm in the Azure portal, and what I've done is I've gone for cost management in the search at the top here. And the first thing that you're going to notice is there's actually two different cost management features here. So you can see them here. Now this creates a little bit of confusion, and the one you're most likely to want to look for is cost management and billing. Now, if we go into here, this is where we have this scope level. So over here on the left, you'll see billing scopes, and you need to check that you're looking at the right scope. So when I was saying before about billing profiles and billing accounts, they'll determine the levels that you would look at. So here, I'm actually in the billing account, so I can check that at the top here just by looking at the type. And then what I could do if I want to change, I can actually go into the billing scopes here, and I maybe can move to a billing profile, or I can choose a particular billing account, and then I could go to the profiles down at the bottom over here, and I can jump into different sections. Now, for me, the UI can get a little bit confusing here, so really just be careful that you're looking at the scope that you think you're looking at. Now, from a cost management perspective, the easiest way to start seeing the cost data, this centralized view, is going to be in the cost analysis section that I've highlighted on the screen here. So this is where you'll see some graphs about where your money's going and how much you're spending and that kind of thing. So here you can see I've got this easy to use centralized graph. These are portals a little bit sluggish querying some of this data, so just be aware that you have to kind of just be a little bit patient in here. But you'll have a few different things that you can leverage. So at the top here, you'll see I've got things like views, so I can do things like a daily cost view, resource views, and that kind of thing. I can also start changing my my different ways of looking at this graph over here. So for example, if I do a group by, quite like group by service name, we'll do a daily graph for this month, and I'll keep it as an area chart. Will be a good example here. So you can see this is going to show me how much I've spent each day so far through the month. And then over here, you can see on the right, down at this side, it's giving me a forecast for the rest of the month. Now, that's probably the simplest thing. I can dig a bit deeper onto all these graphs, and I can change the views and create the views that I want. But that's really the top level centralized view. Now, we also have a subscription and resource level view as well. So if I want to, one of the things is, I guess, from a permission perspective, over here, I really kind of need these cost management specific permissions to get into the billing account view. So a lot of the times, individual developers may not have access to this bit, but an individual developer probably would have access at subscription level. So if you've got reader access, you can see here I've actually got an individual subscription, and then inside the subscription I've got a cost management blade, which can let me see in the cost analysis section, I can see a view, a bit like we did in the centralized view, but it's now scoped down to an individual subscription. So here I can see my accumulated cost through the month, and we can do the same graph we did before. We'll give that a second to load up there. So that's going to scope this to be this individual subscription. Now I can also do it at resource group level, so we could pick an individual resource group and go and look at the same kind of view down here. I think this must be quite a low cost one as an example, but you get the point. You can look at it at subscription and resource level. Next up, we're going to look at budgets. Now, what's quite cool is we can do budgets at different levels. So I'm going to go back to my subscription level here. And in this case, I want to do a subscription level budget. So you can see over on the left-hand side. I'm going to click add. Now I'll give my name. So I'll do a monthly test budget. I think I need to have. So what's interesting here, I can either say quarterly, monthly, or annual. And I also have to give it a start and end date. So this is really how long the budget's going to live for. Now, I think one of the interesting bits here is it goes up to 2036, but I'm not sure why I actually want an expiry date on my budget. So just watch for that. But here it's saying, look, we think your budget should be 7,740. Now, maybe that's, I think looking at the last month costs over here, that may be a bit shy, but we'll go with a recommendation. So you can see the red line is going to be where I'll hit my budget. Now that doesn't look the best budget for me because the last 2 months I probably would have hit that. So I may want to go a little bit higher. Now I can put additional filters on here. So if I wanted to filter for just specific types of cost, I can create an alert for that as well. And next I would go through and create how do I want to get my alerts. So the easiest one's going to be send an alert via email. So we could put the email address for our team in, and we could put something like, conditions here. So what I might do is say, let's focus on actual cost, and I can trigger action groups here as well. So this is where you can hook in the same as Azure Monitor, where you can create an action group to go and do something in response to the alert. And at this point, that would be me creating my alert for this subscription. Now I can do it at resource group level as well. And what's quite cool is I can do it level up and do the same kind of budgets, but at the billing account and billing profile level. So depending on the scope here, and I can create budgets at various levels. Now it's just really a question of what the right level and how easy it is to maintain these budgets is really the bit you need to have a think about. Okay, so we've got 3 types of alert. The most common one that people use is the budget alert. So here we set a threshold for our spend. We hit the threshold and we get an alert fired out. The second one is we have an anomaly where if I go over here to my subscription, you can see I can create a rule and we can have an anomaly alert that will start on a given date. And if things go off the rails and it looks like there's an anomaly at resource group level, I can get an alert for that and we can kind of respond to it. The next type is the scheduled alert. Now this is a bit more like a repeat and report that we can send out. So let's say I've got a graph over here and I can subscribe to this and I can set a recipient to get a download of this particular report on a regular frequency. So that's more of like keeping somebody up to date than an actual things are going off the rails type alert. Okay, so next we've got advisor recommendations, which is a really important part of Azure Cost Management, but it really inherits from Azure Advisor. So if we go back to the subscription, if I'm the developer building an application, in my subscription, I'll see advisor recommendations over here. And if I click on that, I'll get a list of them all over here. And I'm looking for ones that are related to cost management. So what I might do is filter on the type, category I think it's going to be. So I'll want usage optimization, reservations and savings plans. And here I can see potential savings related to resources that are inside this particular subscription. I'll be able to do the same at resource group level. So I'll get a good range of potential opportunities to optimize. I can also see a similar view at the Azure Cost Management module level as well. So remember, this is the 2 hierarchies. The first view was in the subscription resource group. This is more about the higher level view where I can see across the entire company because I'm on the billing account. I can see all of our recommendations over here. So if you're going to be focused on cost optimization, that's one of the first places you should go and look. Is a lot of people miss that. There's advisor recommendations there. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about cost exports. So if I want to do an export of my costs, I can go down to the settings section. In this case, I'm on the billing account, and there's an export feature. So if I want to build my own tool to help look at my costs, maybe I'm doing something with Power BI, for example, I can create an export, and you can see there's a number of different types of export available here. So things like actual and amortized usage are going to help you with how your reservation gets amortized across the month. The focused view is really about the canonical schema for different cloud providers. So if you're building like a multi-cloud type tool, you're probably going to focus more on that focused data set. And then you can have all of them. And really what you're going to do, if you pick one, you'll just choose the frequency and the data you want and where you're going to want it to be exported to. Usually it's going to be a storage account. And finally, if we think about Azure Cost Management, so it's great for getting started. It starts going off the rails when things scale, when things get complicated. So that's where customers of Azure start thinking about FinOps products. So, really, I guess in some ways it's quite difficult to implement a FinOps solution or a FinOps culture with just Azure Cost Management on its own. So it's great for that single subscription view. It's great for basic visibility. When things start getting more complicated and you need to look across teams, you've got lots of subscriptions, this is where things start getting difficult. If you need to do allocation and show back and you've not got a perfectly set up environment, that kind of thing is going to be quite challenging. So that's where you might find third-party tools and things like the FinOps toolkit, for example, is quite good for getting started. So there's lots of options available to people to deal with those more complicated environments as well. Now, if you like what you've saw in this presentation and you'd like to take a look at Turbo 360, that's one of the tools that I work with where you can help go from zero to hero with Azure Cost Management. Feel free to connect with us and we can show you a bit more. But hopefully this introduction to Azure Cost Management helps you out today. Thank you.